I am Armand, a ship captain for over 10 years. My life has always been one of adventure, raging oceans, mysterious islands, forgotten treasures. I have faced storms, sailed to unknown lands, and battled dangers at every turn. Yet despite all these experiences, I have never known true love. I have had companions, admirers, but nothing that made my heart race like the ocean, vast and untamable. But one morning everything changed. I received a letter, sealed with a strange red emblem. The envelope bore an M, a sign I did not recognize. Curious, I opened it, and here is what I read. Dear Captain, I need your help. A legendary treasure hidden for centuries awaits discovery. It lies on the island of Crystalis, beyond the merciless seas. Only a bold man can accompany me on this quest. Meet me at the port. I am waiting for you. This message, as brief as it was, ignited a burning curiosity within me. I had never heard of the island of Crystalis, yet something inside me told me that this adventure would be different from all the others. Without hesitation, I set sail. When I arrived at the port, a ship was preparing to depart. That's when I saw her for the first time. A mysterious woman with jet black hair, dressed in a dark leather coat. Her blue eyes pierced my soul before she even spoke a word. Her name was Melina. She was there for this quest, and everything about her exuded determination. But there was also something unreachable about her, as if she carried a heavy secret on her shoulders. I'm ready to leave whenever you are, she said simply. I nodded, and without another word, we set sail together. The first days of the journey were intense. We faced giant waves and a howling wind that seemed determined to swallow us whole. But Melina never wavered. She remained calm, always ready to handle any situation with a composure I deeply admired. We shared night watches, and over time, I began to know her, to understand that she was not just an adventurer like me, but that something deeper drove her actions. One night, as we stood alone on the deck, the sky was clear, and a thin mist hovered over the water. Melina turned to me, her eyes glowing in the moonlight. You know, Captain, this treasure hunt is not just an adventure for me. It's more than a mere desire for wealth. I looked at her intrigued. What do you mean? She smiled, but it was a smile that didn't reach her eyes. I'm searching for something that cannot be bought. A truth, a reason to hope. Her words left an unsettling impression on me. Who was she really, this woman wrapped in mystery? I didn't know, but I was beginning to feel drawn to her more than I wanted to admit. Days passed, and the island of Crystalis grew closer. But then, a storm erupted, more violent than any I had ever encountered. The sky darkened in an instant, and the sea raged like a furious beast. The ship rocked, the sails snapped, and the horizon became almost invisible under the pounding rain. I ran to the deck to ensure everything was under control, but the storm overwhelmed us. A jagged rock emerged suddenly, and the impact was brutal. The ship split in two, and I was thrown into the freezing water. Just as I thought I would drown, a hand reached out to me. It was Melina. She pulled me from the water, pushing me toward the shore. At that moment, I understood that this woman was not just a traveling companion. She was my salvation. She was all that mattered. When we emerged on the island, drenched and exhausted, I looked at her differently. Her face bore the marks of fatigue, but her eyes still burned with the same intensity. And there, on that deserted island, our hearts finally revealed themselves to one another. You saved me, I said, the words escaping my lips before I could control them. And you showed me that I wasn't alone, she replied. I always knew you were close to me, even when you thought this was just another adventure. We had found each other in the midst of chaos, and it was within that chaos that we realized the treasure, the ancient artifact we sought, was not the true prize we were destined for. What we were truly searching for was each other, in all our imperfect beauty, in all our truth. The next day, as we explored the island, we finally found what we had been seeking, a hidden cave beneath enormous rocks, where an ancient artifact, a precious stone, a relic from another time, lay untouched. But to me, the true treasure was in Melina's hands, in her gaze, in the way she made me feel alive like never before. We spent several days on the island, lost in time, forgetting the sea and everything that had brought us here. I was no longer just a ship captain or an adventurer. I was simply a man, with a woman I loved more than anything. Our conversations, our laughter, our moments of silence were more valuable than any riches we could ever imagine. When we finally set sail again, hand in hand, with the repaired ship, the sea stretched before us, calm and serene. The adventure, the treasure hunt was over. But I knew our true journey had only just begun. I smile when I think back on that time. People often say that love comes when you least expect it. But for me, it arrived with the wind, the water, and the waves,